Hello my friends, and welcome back to another great episode of Pink Tool Girl, where we're going to be talking about exposing a brick chimney. Now, if you've ever done a renovation and you've come across ugly walls and underneath of them are beautiful architectural features, we're going to talk about 3 things that you want to think about before you go and expose those brick chimneys. For budget-friendly home improvement advice where we help you save more so that you can do more in your home, make sure you hit that bell and subscribe today so that you don't miss out on a single episode. So let's grab a cup of tea and talk about what it is that you're going to encounter when you want to expose an architectural feature such as a brick chimney. So we all see on HGTV where they say, I want to have an open concept, or I want to open up this room, or I want to take down this wall, and they go ahead and do it. We love demo day, and we actually took video of the truck coming, and we dumped in, we think about 6 rooms worth of trash and dump because we took down all the way to the studs a portion of the house. In doing that, we discovered we had some architectural features that we wanted to work in to this Victorian. Our home is definitely the Victorian era, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Are 3 things that we learned that you want to be aware of if you're going to do this, because we didn't think about it, and once we did, would we do it again? So let's get started. So when you're doing a renovation project and you take down the walls to the studs, oftentimes, depending on where you are and what era of the house it is that you're renovating, you might find an architectural feature that you love. In our case, it was a brick chimney. Now, we had 2 brick chimneys. We only exposed 1 when we took it down to the studs. And when we did, you'll see some of the pictures I'm going to show you as I'm talking about this. There were some beautiful, it wasn't like a clean brick. It had different portions of plaster on it. It had, it was variations of colors. So the actual brick itself was definitely symmetric, because I know sometimes you could even get some wonky symmetric or different colored bricks that they used. But in our case, it was a beautiful chimney, and it was a sturdy chimney, but it was going to need some help. So the first thing that we did was we took a bristle brush in a drill, and we took out all the mortar of so both the horizontal and the vertical lines of the mortar that were there. It was 100 years old. It was crumbling. It wasn't consistent all the way around. And then if you'll notice, even on this picture, there was I'm sure that it was probably the part where the furnace or something stuck into it and the original use of the chimney, but there was a huge block missing. So we knew that if we were going to use this chimney, we had to first clean it up. And so that's what we did. Okay, so I want to get into the nit and gritty, whatever the term is, of what we did to prep in order to get rid of all of that mortar that was there. Now, first, it was disintegrating. As soon as you went like this with your finger, it would fall and crumble out. So I mean, we absolutely needed to replace that. So that's number 1, what you need to think about when you get involved in exposing a natural or a original architectural feature. Sometimes you need to weigh the pros and cons. Is what you're going to do worth the effort that it's going to take? And in our case, we said yes, but we definitely had to go through and do this next job, which was, I'm going to explain it to you. Second thing is, it was a wire wheel that we used in order to get into the crevices of the brick. And we went in, I really don't know, I think it was probably about 1 inch or so. I don't think we were actually measuring it. We were just making sure that whatever mortar we were going to stick in, that it had a place that it would be able to be pushed in far enough so it didn't flop out, but yet still kind of make the brick look flush when it was done, or finished when it was done. So that's something that you're going to have to judge. For us, it was like, I don't know, maybe 1 inch. So what you want to do is prep some more, because this was the dirtiest job I think I've ever done, or at least ever seen in one of the renovation projects that we've done. But we put up plastic. So first, let me just say that this was it was as if it was a new build, because we were not living in that part of the house. 2, we didn't have any of the cabinetry, we didn't have any flooring, we didn't have any, all we had was the drywall. And hindsight 2020, we probably would have done this before doing the drywall because of how messy it was. We had sediment everywhere for days after doing this, even with the preps that we're doing. But you want a really, really good mask that's going to filter out the particles because it is horrible. 2, you want a fan, if you can, at the windows and the door sources in order to take the air out because, again, it's messy. 3, you want to put plastic up wherever you can in order not to get it into the other parts of, even just into another room. You want to really section off the area that you're going to do because it is super messy. And the last thing is that you want to make sure you have safety glasses. Again, that particle that you're doing with the wire wheel brush is definitely going to scatter the old mortar, and again, it's dusty, so make sure that you have that protective gear. And I'll throw in an extra, wear some nasty clothes, or if you could, like even one of those plastic painter suits or something, because you could just take it off in an easy clean. So that's my first thing. As far as this is a dirty job, you want to prep for it, and it'll save you in the long run as we talk about step 2 and step 3. So going on to phase 2 of exposing your brick. So you've cleaned it, and now you're prepping it to put the new mortar. This to me was kind of a fun part because we got to be like a bakery or a chef, but for something that was a little bit more permanent. So we went outside, and just like we've talked about numerous times about mixing concrete, mixing cement, you read the bag of the mortar that you're choosing to use. You can color your mortar, you can use it just the natural color. Read the bag, read the instructions depending on what kind that you're gonna get. I'm sure that you could probably even get pre-done, pre-mixed mortar, which we have used on various projects. But for this one, because you're going to use so much and you're putting it in a bag, the cost difference was not worth it for us. It may be for you, so make sure you do that because you can get pre-mixed or just the powder and you mix it yourself. In this case, we took it outside, we mixed the mortar in a bucket, and then we brought it in, and you'll see it just like a baker uses a pastry bag and uses a little spatula to put in the icing. We did the same thing. We just used a scraper. We stuck it into our trowel. You stick it into the plastic. You definitely want to get the one that you use for mortar because anything less than that would break for the amount of weight that you're going to use on it. And we didn't use a tip like you would as far as we didn't need to make any pretty shapes or anything. We just wanted to get it so that it was inside the mortar. Now, it was fun at first. It was super fun to do, and it was kind of like, ooh, look, it's so pretty. And then after a while, it got harder because you go higher up and it's heavier. So that's just if you're going to do this and you're repitching or repointing I think it's repointing a chimney, it's fun at first, but it does get tiring. So just pace yourself out. And once you put the mortar in the brick, we used gloves, and we took our finger and just kind of made it, and you kind of had to play around with, did you want it a little bit of an indentation? Did you want it flush off? But you'll get your style or your technique the further up you do. So once you are finished with doing the mortar, so you've cleaned it, and you've cleaned up from that, you've done the mortar, and now your chimney is completely filled in. If you have a section like we did that had some brick missing, we went ahead and scuffed it up just a little bit, placed it in there as best that we could, and then we just did the mortar around it. When you look at it, you cannot tell the difference between the old brick and the new brick. And that's the beauty of kind of leaving some of and that's the third thing that I want to talk about. We left the facade of the brick have imperfections. We didn't care about painting it again and having it one solid color. We thought that the imperfection of all the different kinds of bricks really added to the inspiration of the home. And again, that's one of those, I'll say French inspired because that's what we love, but they're not, the style of French inspired is to allow the flaws and the imperfections to add to the beauty of it. And so that's what we did. We exposed this in our kitchen, and directly above our kitchen was the bathroom, the master bathroom that we redid. And so we left that feature be a common thread throughout that part of the house. So you'll see it with the kitchen and you'll see it with the master bathroom, which really again adds to that flow of the decor or the renovation process that you might want to think about if you're choosing to do the exposing of bricks or any other architectural feature.
What should you do next? Download our free tool lesson in the description box below. We recommend tools that every DIY homeowner should have in their toolbox. Our checklist is delivered to you with specific videos that highlight the different projects that you can do. At PinkToolGirl, we've done numerous DIY projects with a French-inspired flair. It's our passion to share those tips with you, so get your free tool lesson in the description below. Remember, subscribe to our channel and download your free tool lesson today.